So let's get started with Sandra Delgado. My, the first time I met Sandra was actually in my onboarding as managing director of Collaboration Theater Company, as she was one of the lead artists that had the opportunity to bless or deny my inclusion in the family. And I'm so glad that she opened her heart and this company to me and my family and all the artists that I'm connected to in this company. And she's an amazing playwright, a fantastic artist, and even better human being. Oh my goodness, so glad to have Sandra Delgado with us tonight here on 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 our show. Hey, welcome.
Hello. Thank you for
Yes.
having me. It's so good to see everyone's faces.
So my first question is, what is the magic that allows you to get up every day and generate the art that you do, be the mother that you are, be the partner to an amazing human being, a man that I know very, very well, who's quite the dynamo. How do you do it?
A lot of coffee. Stella knows, my daughter knows that she really can't talk to me too much until I've had my coffee.
Got it, got it, got it.
No, but really, my motivation is her. I would say that my life as an artist, what I wanted to say as an artist, changed with motherhood for me. That was a really big turning point. And so she continues to be, and motherhood in all its facets continues to be something that gets me up and that I continually want to explore in my life and in my art. Everything that motherhood means, which is a lot more than giving birth to a child. It means a lot of things that I explore in my work.
Wow, yeah. I noticed that in the last couple of really big pieces that I've watched you pull together, compose, produce, and turn into just amazing works of art, all have that thread of family and connectedness and kind of the richness of lived experience. Can you talk with us a little bit about how you develop your storylines and what you pull from, and a couple and the piece of work that you got going on with with some of the best stuff everybody knows you about.
Yes. Well, I would say my family has always been a big inspiration. And my mother has repeatedly asked me to stop writing about our family.
I got it.
which
Yeah.
I'm slowly doing. But family is a big inspiration, and Chicago, our city, is a big inspiration. I have really found I'm finding that my life's work is the stories of our city, because every block, when I think about the quantity of stories on any block over
Hmm.
decades and
Hmm.
decades
Hmm.
and decades, it is so incredible. So I'm really committed to telling the underknown stories of our city, the stories of our city that are not in the history books, the people of our city that are not in the history books. That's something that's really, really important to me. And I have found, I guess I know when I want to write about something, when it's something that surprises me, when it's something that I didn't know about our city. For
Hmm.
example, with La Habana Madrid, I thought I was going to write a play about my parents. And once my father told me that there used to be this Caribbean Latinx nightclub on Belmont and Sheffield, which is pretty much a white neighborhood, that there was one in the 60s, I was like, wow, if I don't know this, there are a lot of people that don't know this. And what ended up happening was really, I got really lucky, and a lot of people who lived in that time were open to talking to me, but it really felt like an excavation. It was almost an archaeology mission to try to find anything about this club and about the people that started it, the people that played there, because it hasn't been documented to the mainstream.
Yes, yes. So what's surprising you now that you're writing about or musing about?
So I am writing a play called The Boys and the Nuns. And like the majority of my work, it incorporates music. Music is actually my entryway into performing. You know, since I was 5, 6 years old, music has been part of how I express myself. And so with this play, which I'm gonna say it's a musical, but what I'm really interested in is following a group of people where music is a part of their natural life every day, just like it is for me, you know, even though I'm not out like performing every day, music is a part of my everyday life, just like it was when I was growing up.
Mm.
And so I'm really interested in exploring music in a way that isn't like a traditional theater, a traditional musical where people just kind of bust into song. It's like, no, these people are musicians, or these people are people that just love to sing around the house. But this story is the story about the fight for LGBTQ rights in Chicago in the 80s, and how a group of Catholic nuns became a huge, huge part of helping their fellow Chicagoans to pass a human rights ordinance to give people just basic human rights. And that story is continually surprising me. And it's been just, as always, just such a pleasure and such a learning experience to sit down with people who have lived through this era. And also, you know, when I say that every block has countless stories, you know, where the bulk of the story takes place in Lakeview in Boys Town, that's just a block away from where La Habana Madrid, the nightclub in the 60s, was. So you start, you know, I hope with my work, you really start seeing the layers and how a neighborhood can change over a long period of time.
Wow. Wow. Thank you for that and that insight into that new piece. I can't wait to read it and even see it on stage. So I'm wondering what our resident playwright over here on the artistic staff has to ask, because colleague, I'm sure there's a better question bubbling up over there with my dear friend Nicole Brooks. Please join us.
Give it to me.
Hi, baby. Okay, not only are we just we're friends of many years, so I am gonna fangirl out and just totally be a geek in all the things. First piece, I'm so happy to see you. It's so wonderful to hear about this canon of work that you are bringing to us, especially those of us that have lived many years in Chicago. So I wanna ask you, sis, so you know we got 50 wards in Chicago, right? Knowing what we know right now and all the things, if we were to get a 51st ward, what would it look like for you?
Oh gosh, that's what it would look like. Wow. Just a place where everyone is truly welcome, where everyone's voice is really heard, where everyone has what they need, you know, where everyone has what they need. And you know, we just moved to Portage Park a few months ago. And I know one of my big hopes for moving to this neighborhood, you know, we moved from a condo building that had 21 units. We lived there for 16 years and we barely knew our neighbors.
Wow.
You know, it was also kind of a transient place too. We were like the old timers there. We were there for a really long time, 16 years. And so a lot of people came and went in that time, but we didn't really get to know a lot of people deeply. And that is something that has been a big hope for me moving here to Portage Park. And that hasn't happened yet. And, you know, it's like, we just moved here. Now everyone's kind of shut into their homes, but to add to your question, you know, a place where people really are connecting with each other.
Yeah.
It's so different now. You know, when I grew up, you know, I grew up in a situation where we had I grew up in a 2-flat building in Chicago, our iconic red brick 2-flats, and it was my family on the bottom and my tias, my aunties on the top. And so it was like always a family affair, and there was always someone to watch us, you know. Like I feel like now that the family units are so different than they were in the 70s and in the 80s, and even culturally as we assimilate into this country, just how things change, and how you know, I would love to see our neighbors, our neighborhoods take the place of those families, you know.
Yeah.
So that would be my dream, and a lot of green space.
Fantastic.
Well, well,
Yes,
well, well, well.
that.
So, that's beautiful. I'm hoping that someone in the chat will raise a question or two for our guest, for Sandra Delgado. And in the meantime, until one shows up, I'm going to open the mic to my dear friend Anthony Mosley,
Who that?
who may not know
Y'all know
enough
each
about
other,
you to
right?
ask the question, but I'm going to invite him anyway.
Sandra, are you available for lunch tomorrow? I'd like to get to know you better. You're sure something, my inner, I'm going to not tell the story of us meeting right now, but if you'd like to hear that story, DM me. I have two quick things. Maybe the first is not so quick, but I'm just going to ask my questions and I'll let you answer them. Looking back on your career, what is the most special moment that you can recall in a theater in the last 25 years in Chicago? And then my other question is, you know, being in the front row, Sandra and I are married. If you didn't know that, a lot of people don't believe that. And when they actually, there are some people that they see us together and they go, "You're married?" And I'm like,
You lucky guy.
You didn't see my face tattoo of Sandra Delgado? But I've had the front row seat to watch you build just an incredible career. What can you offer a young, you know, BIPOC Chicago theater artist in regards to what you've learned from your path as a newbie actor without a theater degree, to now being a playwright and someone who's actually making an impact on Chicago's culture through your work and advocacy? Two questions.
Were those two questions? Okay.
What would you tell them?
First of all, we need you. God, do we need you? We need you. We need you out there creating. Theater is such a powerful way for to smash stereotypes about people. And it's also a way to connect people. And it's a way for, I know that it makes a difference whether there are, you know, 10 people at my show or 100 people at my show or 1,000 people at my show. I know I'm making a difference just by being the writer, just by being the actor up on stage. Visibility is so important. So I feel like if you want to go into that, you know, dive into the pool and pick this artistic path, and you have stories inside you, which I know that you do because everyone has stories inside of them, I would say it's your responsibility to do it because it makes a difference in the world. Yeah, what was the other question?
What's your most special moment as you look back in these
most special moment? Yeah.
Is there one that rises up in your mind?
There's a few. The other I do want to add a little bit more on to what would I say to someone is to find your co-conspirators. Because what I have found, because I tell stories in a different way than what you normally see, let's just say, for example, in a regional theater subscription season. that you hold on to what that is that makes you uniquely you, and find that group of people who believe in you, and you can create stuff together. You know, it's really easy to get caught up in when you're thinking about dreaming big and goals and looking at like these shiny objects, but that's not ultimately what's important. What's important to me is to make sure that the people that I write my plays for are seeing my plays. That's another really important thing to me. And on that note, I think when I think about my biggest memories theater-wise, they all really do have to do with the work that I've created. It's kind of hard to pick just one. Maybe I'll just start with the first one, because it ties into your first question. So I'm a founding member of Collaboration, and the bulk of my career has been as an actress. But I think it was maybe about 8 years ago, Collaboration, which has always been such a home to be like, yes, you can play this character. Yes, you should direct. Yes, you should write. You know, I was encouraged by Anthony and Seth Boakley, who was our artistic director at the time, to write something, to devise something, which scared me because I thought, I've never written anything before. I'm not a playwright. I don't know how to do this. And they encouraged me. And I think just the memory of developing this piece, it was what I would call a dance theater piece. And even though at that point I had done a lot of amazing theater and big theaters outside of the city and small theaters all around town, it was the most artistically satisfying experience. It was a 10-minute piece, and it just blew my mind that all these people in my life, these fellow actor devisers, I reached out to them and said, hey, I've got this idea. Will you join me? And they all said yes. And that blew my mind. And so just the fact that I was able to develop it and to lead a process, which was something that I didn't think I had in me. I mean, it was like just smashing all these fears that I had inside my mind. And that, I mean, it was huge. Without that little 10-minute piece, there is no La Habana Madrid, which brought with it just a whole host of incredible, incredible memories. So if you have a creator inside of you, and I know you do, you have to do it.
And that show, Pata Carmen, is actually on YouTube. And it has one of the most epically awesome casts ever. I mean, you know, Jeremy O'Harris,
yeah, Jeremy O'Harris, who took Broadway by storm this past season with Slave Play. Kanisha Foster, who's out there doing television in LA and directing theater all over the country. Her hubby, Tony Sancho, joined us for one of the productions of the play.
Remy Ortiz. Oh, hold on, Sandra. I'm sorry to interrupt, but we have a guest who'd like to come on and ask you a question before we wrap things up here.
Okay.
Our former board president, the one and only Mr. Nick Rocup, is going to be joining us.
Hi, Nick.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Sandra. Nicole, how are you? Dr. Slick?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm so happy to see you.
Anthony, we got to get out on the golf course.
Yes, you can now, or you will be.
We've been playing since May 1st, you know, just the city courses haven't been open, so. Anyway, thank you all for doing this. This is wonderful. Love to see all the smiling faces and my friends and my family. Sandra, I just had a question. You know, I know it hasn't been always easy for you either. And I have some artist friends who are going through some tough times right now, and you know, whether they're discouraged or frustrated. You know, what would you tell them, particularly in a time like this right now, that you know, keep hope, and what would you do to get out of a funk like some of them are in? So
yeah, I mean, I have had a lot of ups and downs, you know, these last couple of months, and honestly, I have been in a funk the last couple of days, and just being here and sharing space with you all is filling me up so much. like really, really filling me up, and just getting to think about my art and talk about my art and get to see all of your faces is really filling me up. So I would say that they should reach out to each other. And you know, I talked to a friend the other day, and she told me that her and her husband every morning at breakfast, they say affirmations to each other. They say, you know what, this time next year, this is what I want to be doing. And I was like, I want to start doing that. Anthony, let's start doing that. uh,
Well, we do our annual goals.
we do, but this is different. This is
Sure.
let's visualize ourselves out of where we are right now, and let's have some fun dreaming about where we want to be a year from now. And I've actually found that for myself, I've had to kind of not think too much in the future, or I will actually completely freak out because I have no idea when I'll be able to work again as a playwright or as a stage actress. You know, it's going to be a while. So when I start thinking about that, it's not good. So I've been
Right.
trying to take it really a day at a time, really leaning into my yoga, into meditation, just breathing and being outside and connecting with my friends, just seeing each other. And then I think this last component, which is a little different than worrying about like, when am I gonna be able to work again? But visualizing, oh, in a year, this is where I'll be, I think can be a really healthy practice. And I really believe in visualization. I mean, I really believe in the power of it.
Yeah, well, that's what it's all about, right? Telling stories and visualizing the stories, living the stories in your mind, and just living the future. And you know, it's wonderful to share this space with all of you. And thank you for everything you guys are doing and keep doing. It's such a big part of my last 10 or 15 years or whatever I've been part of the Collab family. So thank you again, and great to see you all. So
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks,
Wonderful.
Nick.
That's so beautiful,
It's
so
on you.
beautiful.
It's on you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sandra, for being with us, for bringing the love and the insight, you know, and your genius to our screen, and you fill us up. It's a mutual kind of nurturing that goes on here. So thank you so much for
Thank
that.
you. You have filled my hearts. And I want to give a special shout out before I go to Luca Calabro, who is now a new collaboration intern and was one of my star students at Loyola University this past year. And he has been a big part in the development of the Boys and the Nuns. And I'm so happy that he's joined the Collab fam.
I love Luca so hard. Yay.
Yay! Absolutely.
And I just
Will.
want to thank Sandra
Oh my
for,
God.
I mean, this woman can cook anything.
Oh,
I can't build an IKEA table. I can't read any instructions. And she can make every kind of bread you ever dreamt of.
Okay.
So we do live together. We are married, and all the rumors can stop. Okay.